Hi, my name's Jeff Rhodes, and this is another video on Office 365 and SharePoint. And in this one, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is creating a color SharePoint calendar. So I've got one here, and we'll look at an existing one, and then we'll build one from scratch so you can see how to do it. So this is a chapter from my book, Creating a Color Calendar. That's the chapter and the book you can see over here, Creating Business Applications with Office 365, Techniques in SharePoint, Power Apps, Power BI, and more. And this is a SharePoint one. You can pre-order it on Amazon. Comes out December 2nd. It kind of varies around. Right now it's #1 new release in programming compilers. So it's kind of funny if you go down, you can see how it's doing. So a couple of people bought it or something, so it's up to 252,000 and it has some #19 in SharePoint guides, which sounds a little more more relevant than programming compilers, but you never know. So hopefully you either have picked up a copy of that or you will. And one of the things that it has is you get the source files. So and this is one of them. So the files that I use today, you'll actually be able to download when you buy the book. So hopefully that makes it worthwhile. Also, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me get the word out and other people learn about it. So that's beneficial as well. So we'll make that a little bigger. All right, so let's go look at the finished product first. Okay, so here's a calendar, and what we've done is we have a location field, and this is a guide, and we'll see how to put that in there. And then it's color coded, so you see the staff meeting. We can look at it and see it's in conference room 1, and our maintenance meeting is in this purple one, which is, I suppose that's supposed to be the library. Actually, I'm not seeing that purple. So we'll have to look at that. So let's go back, way back at May 2018, I had some more. And you can come, by the way, I can kind of see, sometimes it doesn't pick it up exactly. So see, it's kind of funny. You can see how it works here. I think because I had it sitting here. So let's just refresh again. See how it kind of, you can see the little pipe, so we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see if we can go back to May 2018. And there we go. So you can see how it changes. So it's kind of funny. I didn't realize that purple doesn't exactly match there, but the red is in Academic Building 1, and you can see that baseball games going in the other location. So the way that we do that is we use jQuery to find, we basically let the page render, and then we swap out. So it's similar if you saw my other video on customizing date formats, where you can make a date if it's within like 7 days of a due date turn red and 30 days turn orange. Or also we did it when we customize an alert list, where if it's an outage alert, we change the style and make it big and red, and then we can make it kind of orange if it's, you know, another one, or if it's just informational, it's blue. So same kind of concept. I like to do this a lot. And so the way we make it happen, so I'll go to the, oh, actually I have to go in here. We got one thing you have to watch is, since we got two things on the page, this is a content editor. To get it to the calendar, you have to click in that area, and then calendar comes over here. We can see the list settings there. So we'll build one of these from scratch. But the gist of it is we've got an event location, which I added as a custom choice column. And it's got all my locations in it. And then we make what I'm calling location title, a calculated column. And what we do is use the formula here is we put these 3 pipes, and then I put the event location, which I can get from there, and 3 more pipes, and then we use the concatenation. You know, we concatenate on the ampersand and get the title. So that's why if you saw it flash really quickly, you'd see the 3 pipes, the event location, and then the title. What we do in code is we grab that event location, set the background color to be the right one, and then we change the value of that HTML object to just be the title. So that's how we make it. Let's see if we can see it one more time. go back here. Let's go back to the calendar. You can kind of see it. Did you see it flash there? And then it was kind of blue, and then we changed it and got rid of the pipes and changed the color. So that's the gist of it. So let's go make our own calendar just so we can try this ourselves. So I'm going to go to Site Contents, and I'm going to make New, and I'll just say App here, and we'll go down and we'll just say Calendar. I'm going to make it the video calendar. I like to do it without spaces so I get a good URL without any %20s in there. So I'll come in here and go to Settings, and I'll put our space back in. I'll add it to the quick launch so we can find it. So in this case, just to show the thing, I'm going to take the category. Usually the way I do this is I'll either do category, I'll do location, or sometimes if you've got like an assigned, lead or some sort of person, you can have a choice column of the people and then show different colors based on which person it is. That's another one I've done too. So we'll just leave the ones that are in here alone. So we'll just make it like this. So any of the ones that happen, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy this for now. I'll put on TextPad, which I like, and I'll just paste those in there so we have them later. So what we're going to do is we'll just use the category as it is, but you could edit those. I often edit those quite a bit to do, more settings to the job or whatever. And so then I'm going to do is I'll create a column, and just to use my other naming scheme, I'll say category title. I'll make that a calculated column. And it takes a second to get, there we go. And so we're going to do our pipes. So I do 3 pipes. And really it can be anything as long as we're sure that it doesn't exist normally in the category in this case, or in the title. If your title has 3 pipes in it, it'll mess it up. So you do something that's fairly unusual. And you see category is actually our first one, and then we'll do ampersand, whoops, get the thing in the right spot, 3 more pipes, ampersand, and we'll put the normal title like that. One trick, this one is pretty straightforward, but if you're doing complicated formulas, I like to copy them into the clipboard just with Control-C there. And that way, if you get a syntax error, I've had it where I've lost my whole formula because I missed something, and it's a hassle. So I always copy that in there first just in case I mess something up. Nice. And then let's go ahead and just put in a few events here. So we'll just add some ones in here. Oh, something I have to change. I despise this where you can add your own categories. In this case, that's not going to be good either because you can go in and get one that isn't a color. So we'll have an other in there just in case, but let's fix that real quick before we move on because I don't like that. I always try to, if there's a spot where you can go in and just have somebody, ask if they need more. So we're going to just say allow fill-in choices. We'll say no there. The other one in this case, we don't want to have multiple selections here because it's going to kind of mess it up. We just want one type. All right. So we'll just say, let's see what, so we'll just say test meeting. If I could spell, there we go. And next day I'll put something else in here, and I'll say, and we'll make that one. I'm just doing it so we can tell if our colors are right, and we'll just make it a bit longer. And we'll just do like one more for testing. And let's do something further out. Let's just say birthday. I'll make this an all-day event. How's that? Oh, and actually for testing, let's do something else too. Let's put one here. And let's pick like a business. And we'll just call it staff meeting. And we'll say that it's a repeating event. So we'll make it weekly every Monday and Friday from, let's say 8 to 9, like that. That'll give us lots, and put no end date. That'll fill up our calendar a bit. There we go. All right. So the next thing we want to do before we get to all the JavaScript is we want to go ahead and make another view. Okay, so we're going to we've got our all events view now, or calendar view. So we'll just base it on calendar. And we'll call it color calendar. And we're never going to see this, so I don't need to put the space in there. It doesn't really matter. And basically what we do is everywhere we get the title, we just change it to our category title. Like that. And then we can leave, I'll leave the other ones alone. We could change the other things we want to show, but this is like between our week. But basically everywhere we had title, we change category title, and we don't need to change anything else. So see, that's how it ends up looking when the page first renders. It looks like that, and then our JavaScript will pull off that business with the pipes, change the color, and then update the text. All right, so let's switch over to Visual Studio. And this is just the way that we sent the source files out. So you see it's set up for our other ones. So we'll just start with the legend. I'll usually do both of these together. So let's go down to the legend. So let's actually go back to our other example here. Let's see if we can go back to our other calendar. Have them both open. So that's this part here. But they basically match. So if you have search and replace across files, you can actually fix both of those. So let's go look at those. So what we do is we use an unordered list here. This is the HTML. We're just going to inject this right into the page. And in essence, oops, I've got some spaces in there I didn't really need there. But what basically you do is we put our text in, and then I like to give it the ID of the same thing, but it can't have any spaces there. So that's why it says Academic Building 1. And then we make a style that goes with that Academic Building 1, and we give the color. And then if the color needs, we default. So if we look at this style up here, what basically does is we say, okay, if we're in the calendar legend div, so a little HTML here, but this is the div. So any unordered list inside of a div with that ID, that's what that #UL means. And we're going to say a list style none, which basically just makes it so it just shows across, doesn't have the bullets. And then we're going to say, okay, the list item inside that, we're going to make them inline block, which kind of makes them look like little rectangles. And then we're going to put a padding of 3 pixels on them. And then further on, the span that's inside there, we're going to give it the width, and we're going to set that the color is white. So that's why we only have to, if we wanted black or something else instead, then we put a new style, and we put this exclamation point important to say that that's going to override the other style. And we align the text and make a font size 125% and so forth. And then what we do is, for each one of these deals, we just give it the color that we want. So you can, that's a RGB and hex format. So you can go to Photoshop or whatever. For this purpose, I'm just going to leave the colors alone, because that's thing. So essentially what I'm just going to do is going to copy each one of these in there. So if I take academic building 1, like, whoops, go like that, and I'm going to go all open documents. And I'll just say replace, that was all, and then I'm going to get rid of that extra space that didn't really want, and I'll do it that way. So in this case, they're both going to be the same because there's no spaces in here. So I'll go here, and then we'll get, but I basically have a function that I call in my other JavaScript where I pass in, I'm calling it location. In this case, it'll be category, and we pass back. And it's just important that be the same color. You saw our purples didn't match, so it looks like in my example, I didn't have it exactly right. So we'll continue from here, academic building, to this one's going to be work hours. Notice that one does have a space. So that'll be that. I'll get rid of that extra one here, and I'll grab that, and then I'll just come over and get rid of the space here. Like that. Perfect. We'll just kind of keep going. I'll probably just do one more, and then I'll pause the video and finish it so you don't have to watch me do all these, but I think you get the idea now. Let's do one more, athletic fields. We'll come in and do it here. Search this one with the space in it. And leave it as business and do it there. Oh, well, I see one that I didn't have right there. That's probably the one that was the wrong color because I didn't actually have there. So let's see if we can fix that real quick before I turn off the video. So business up here, it's going to be this background color. Okay. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, so that was actually supposed to be business. That's why we didn't match completely. All right, well, I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll come back right at the end after I've got these done. All right, well, I've gone through birthday now, so let's do the last one together again, anniversary. We'll come back there and go to headquarters. Change that to anniversary. There. Okay, so we've got these extra styles, which we could delete, but we'll leave the other alone. So, so we can delete these or not. Frankly, I usually just leave them because the next time I use this file, I may need more, but I definitely don't want it in my list. So I'm going to delete these like that. So that takes care of my legend. And again, I just update that. Now let's go look at the JavaScript file. So we can close that. So first thing we're going to need to do is link into jQuery. Okay, and since we're injecting it inside the page, we need this script tag. And then we use a few global variables. So you'll see I've got these iterations variables because what it basically does is turn on a timer. So I don't want it to run if this page is open for the next day. I don't want to keep running over and over trying to set up my color calendar. So what we do is this dollar function, as you've seen before, this dollar means jQuery, and this says run when the page is fully rendered. So we then set a timeout, because one thing that's kind of weird on these in SharePoint is that they can go in and it takes a while to render all the different page things and stuff, so you really don't know. So we set a timeout. We're going to go 1,000 milliseconds. So every second we're going to call this color calendar function, and what we're going to do is we're going to find this container. So it turns out in HTML, that's what it looks like. That's the container that has the calendar in it. And in our previous video, we looked how to use the developer tools to find that. So you can go in and verify that. And then we're going to just, the separator is our variable. So we're going to just create a, it turns out that's inside of an anchor tag. So we're going to do this where we put in our pipe basically and look for it, okay? And so we're going to look for that inside the container. And we're going to do, okay, and each time we find it, we're going to call this function. And again, we're going to look for the div title inside the dollar. This is the reference to the object that we're in. And then we're going to, once we have that, this inner HTML is going to basically be the pipe with all the stuff in it. So we're going to get the colors and we're going to set the anchor text of it and change the background style and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can dig that in, but you can see kind of our function. So we're going to call this get actual text and we're going to split. So a great thing in JavaScript is we can split between that. So if we look at our title, let's go back over and look at, because this is one that doesn't work terribly well in the debugger with that timer over and over. It's not the easiest thing, so it's a little easier to see it here. Oh, and it went back to its default view. So let's go in and change the view to the color calendar view so we can see it. So when we split that, basically each one of those is going to be an array. So 0 is going to be blank, 1 will be business, and then 2, bracket 2 will be the title that we want, staff meeting. So if you look at our function, that's what we're going to do. So we split it, and then the return string is 2. It's the third one, but we start from 0, so it's parts number 2. Okay, we can get the location, which we don't actually need in this case. If we were, we don't actually calling it, but if we did, that would be part 1. That would be location, or in our case, category. But then actually we do need it. Sorry, I got that wrong, because we get the color code. So this gives us the location where we pass in. So in our example, we get business or meeting work hours or whatever, and then we pass that into get color code from location. Whoops. And we go down here and we just have a big switch on it to make sure, and then that's where we pass in the right color, and if we need to pass in the foreground as well, either white or black basically to get it through. And again, this has some extra ones that we're not really using, and then we return back the background and the foreground color. So that's kind of an interesting thing. We pass in basically an array, which is colors, and so you'll see we call color 0 for the background color, and then color 1 for the foreground color. All right, so we're almost done here. So what we want to do here now, and I've got a previous video on how to enable the content editors. That's what I'm trying to get to on the page. So we do that. And so let's first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, let's go in here, close that. And let's make the color calendar the default view. Just click that box there. So that'll first make, when I click on this now, it should come up with that one. Yeah, so it does it. And then we can edit the page. Okay, so we click on here and we say edit page. And we can add a web part here. Okay, and as I mentioned, I've set it up so it already gets content editors. So we're going to do 2 content editors. The first one, and actually I'm not quite ready to do that, so let me save the page. I skipped a step here. Let's go back to our code library. So I have a document library I call code library, and you see I already have calendar code and calendar legend for the other one, but that's why I named this one different. So I can upload And I could do it, drag and drop here, but I'll just grab it. I have this in documents, so we'll go. Let me double check that I've saved those. Yeah, I actually haven't, so let's save that one. You can see that little asterisk means that I hadn't saved it yet. There we go. So let's upload both of those. And then it can be a little hard to get the path. So what I've found is easier in Office 365 is just copy the path and then I'll just type in. So it's video calendar code and video calendar legend.txt. All right, so let's edit page. Hopefully it's still got my content editor in there. Come on. Yeah, okay. So I got the one. So let's edit web part. And I just want that code in there. So I want to say video calendar legend.txt. And a little trick I like is I'll say legend code do not delete. If somebody gets and edits that page, they don't realize what that's doing. And then I change this to none. So that title only shows up when we're editing the page. It doesn't show up the rest of this time. So let's hit OK. It's still saving. So far so good. There was our title, and we're going to add one more web part. Again, go to Media and Content. And we got another one. So these content editors are really handy, so I definitely recommend put those in. Video calendar code.txt, and we'll do that same technique. Calendar code do not delete. Set the Chrome type to none. Okay. So let's see. So business, and then we had the meeting, test meeting, we had the test work hours. Perfect. And we got it done. And we say stop editing. We're good to go. And notice if you're going to add that as like a web part to another page, it'll work there too. So you just go ahead and add it. Actually, we can do that. Let's just do it real quick. Let's go to the overall page here, and let's just edit it. Edit the page, and we'll do that one more time just so you can see how to do it. See, I got this is some of my other samples, but I can just add it again. So let's insert the web part. So we'll do the video calendar first. And actually, I want to put this above, so let's insert come on. Not quite sure why that's not working. Let's save it first. Seems to be having a little bit of trouble. Maybe it's just slow. Got a lot going on this page. I could have picked a new page too. I got the Google Analytics, which is also in the book. I did a different video already about this network alert. So I don't know why it's being slow saving it, but let me pause it for now. Oh, there it went. All right, let's try it. Let's edit again. Yeah, this page seems to be having a little bit of trouble. So let me do this. I'll pause and I'll make a new page, and We'll do it there instead. I probably have a little too much all going on this one page. So I'm gonna just delete this one since doing it all here. So we'll delete that one. Save. There we go. And I'll add a new page. Let's do it that way better. Oh, and actually, that's a good point. So let's go back to site contents because I don't want to add the page that way. So we don't really, yeah, sure I want to leave it. What you want to do is go, if you want this kind, we don't actually want a modern page here. So we're going to want a new wiki page. And I'll just call it calendar, color calendar display. Fortunately, it gets all those %20s in there to get a good page name, but that's okay. There we go. Let's just do this in order. So I'll put the media and content editor first. Let's see if that's still in my clipboard. Yeah, so that was video calendar legend text legend code do not delete, Chrome type none. Let's say okay. And we'll do the web part again. Content editor. Video calendar. Code. Text. Calendar code. Do not delete. Chrome type of none. And last but not least, put the calendar itself in there. There we go. Now it won't work initially because it doesn't have the right thing, but better, I've learned here, if you start changing the display, then it's gonna, or the view, then it sometimes doesn't save all your work. So I'm gonna get rid of that blank line, get rid of that, edit the web part, change the view to be that color calendar view. And we say okay. And save. There we go. All right, well, kind of a long video, but that shows you how you can get it on a different page as well. Just put in the content editors, link into the text files, and you can get it anywhere you want. So one of my favorite features inside of SharePoint can be really helpful to people to color code those different meetings. And I didn't really show it, but by the way, it still works if we come in and change it to like the weekly view and so forth. It still shows. So that's kind of nice. So cool. All right. Have a great day. Thanks.